Tell me about your research in retirement.
Sure. Look, we started off realising that people with disability are living longer. So they're increasing, more people are living to retirement age, and like everybody else, having a few health-related problems as they get older, and so needing to slow down. The problem was that most of their friends were at work, and so if they stopped work, they would have nothing to do and no contact with their friends. So we thought, well, what does everybody else in the community do when they retire? And one of the things that they do is to be a volunteer, to help in their community. Another thing they do is to join a group. If they're interested in knitting, they might join a knitting group. If they like walking, they might join a walking group. If singing is their thing, then they might join a choir. And we thought, well, that's probably going to be the same for people with disabilities, so let's help them to volunteer or to join a community group.
Why does this matter to self-advocates?
Well, I think self-advocates, like everybody in society, need to know what's possible, what's out there that they can choose if they want. Self-advocates also have a responsibility sometimes to support other people with disability to make choices for themselves and to know how to make choices for themselves. So they can also tell their friends and colleagues with disability about these options for an enjoyable, active and socially inclusive retirement.
So having people who are actively retired, does that increase the number of people who decide to become active in retirement?
Well, absolutely. One of the interesting things that we found is at the beginning of our research, people were a bit cautious, a bit worried. They thought this might be just a way of their employer getting rid of them. One of the ways that we solved that was to have the CEO, the boss of the employment agency, write a letter to each person and say, we promise that you can come back to as much work as you want to come back to if you try this partial retirement and you don't like it. So a few more people joined up as a result, and what they found was that they did like it. There was a man, and he's featured in the DVD, which is part of the training package that we've developed to go with this manual. He's featured in that DVD. There's a guy who really likes singing, and so what he wanted to do was to join a local choir. Unfortunately, there was a choir in his community, and so he goes every week and joins in the singing, and sometimes they go and perform in other places, and he's always part of that performance. So he's a very active member of that community group and enjoys that. He hasn't retired fully. He's still working, I think, 2 days a week and doing these other activities, such as the choir, on the days when he doesn't work. And that model seemed to work quite well. Rather than working 5 days a week this week and then completely stopping the next week, just gradually cutting back. And so instead of working 5 days, working 4 days, but on that other day when you used to work, to pick up one of these activities that you are interested in and can actively take part in.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It's very informative, and hopefully we'll see something like that transition here to the United States.
You bet. Or as we say in Australia, no worries.